How's it going, everybody? Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be making a little bit different type of videos. It's going to be like a little stance series on this Evo, putting coilovers on, getting it fitted right with new wheels, doing an alignment on it, and just random aero pieces, side skirts, maybe a new wing, front lip, all that kind of stuff. So if you are interested, feel free to subscribe and tag along with me as I make this thing look like my STI. For the first episode of this video series, we're going to be doing a coilover install. I got some BC BR Extreme Low coilovers for it. Let's get to installing. The first thing you're going to want to do before you jack the car up is loosen all the lug nuts. Now that you got all the lug nuts loose, you can go ahead and jack the car up and put it on jack stands and take off all the wheels. To get the stock rear struts off, you're going to have to pull all of the rear trunk liner out, and also this big black plastic piece right here. There's just a few clips on the outside of it. To get these foam panels off on each side, there's 2 screws on that side and just 1 screw on this side. Just pull those 2 screws, or the 3 screws out, and all that'll come off. As soon as you get those out, pull off the black panel. Now, to get the strut out, you need to take off these 2 top hat nuts. There's one right there and one on the inside. I don't know if you can see that or not. Pull those 2 nuts off. On the outside, there is a bolt right here that goes through the control arms and the strut. Pull that bolt out and the strut will slide right on out. That is what it will look like when you got the stock strut off. You don't need the 2 top hat nuts. The new coilovers will come with the nuts, so you don't need those. The fronts are relatively easy to do also. There will be 2 bolts holding the hub to the strut. The brake line, stock, it comes through the strut like this. It'll be completely closed off. You can either take the brake line off or just make a little slit like I have already. And then there will be 2 nuts, one for the brake line and one for the ABS line on the strut also. On the top of the strut, for the top hat, there will be 3 14mm nuts you got to remove. As soon as you get those 3 nuts off, the strut will drop out. That is what the front strut looks like when it is removed. So I got my BC coilovers here. Before I throw them on the car, I'm going to go ahead and re-grease everything. Anywhere there's threads, I'll re-grease, including the lower mount. I'll pull that off and re-grease everything. I've already used these for a little bit, so there might be some corrosion in there. Even if they're new, I would recommend re-greasing stuff. They can get seized very easily. So let's go ahead and re-grease these. As you can see, this coilover, even though I've only used them for a month or 2, this one's already getting pretty stuck, so good thing I'm re-greasing these when I am. Now that all the coils are already greased, we can go ahead and put the rear extenders on if we're going to use them. If you don't use these, you cannot get to the rear dampening adjusters. So I would recommend that you use them. Just takes a little Allen wrench to put them on. Installation of the rear is pretty simple. It's pretty much identically opposite of taking the strut off. Just find a place to jam it down low and then go up top and get a nut or two on the top. As soon as you get a top hat nut on, you're going to need to get a jack and jack the whole hub up to get it to the height of the coilover. As soon as you get the control arm and the bottom of the coilover lined up, just put the bolt through both of them. I'd recommend putting a little bit of grease on the bolt. As soon as you get the bottom all buttoned up, go ahead and put the two top hat nuts on and tighten those two up. They don't have to be super tight. Get them snug. For the rear extender, I ran it through that hole right there, as you can see. So as soon as you take off the cover for the battery, to get access to the battery, you can adjust the coilover from here. Now that you have all of the rear coils on, you can go ahead and put your trunk back together, all the lining. The fronts are going to be a little bit different as far as how the brake line and ABS line mount. The brake line, see if I can get it to focus. So the brake line will mount on the back of the lower mount. There's a little stud here. And the ABS line does not bolt on anywhere, it just clips on. The white little plastic clip will clip on here. Put the coilover on and get the 3 top hat nuts on. Make sure your camera plate is facing the proper way. So make sure it's facing like that so you can slide it positive or negative camber going that way. You don't want it facing front to back at all. You're going to need to do the same thing that you did with the rear with the jack. You're going to have to jack the whole hub up to get to the height of the coilover. Now that you have it at the same height, you can go ahead and throw the 2 lower nut or bolts through. Now you can go ahead and bolt on the brake line to the back of the strut mount. Just the factory nut can go back on there. As soon as you get that done, go ahead and clip on the ABS line. Like so. And put on the nuts. Make sure everything's all tight down here. Make sure that all the lock rings are tight on the coilover for the spring and the lower mount. I'd recommend tightening the top hat nuts with just the ratchet and wrench. If you tighten with the impact, you may risk snapping these studs off. They're not the strongest. Now that you have your coilovers on, you've gone through and double checked all your bolts and locking nuts on the coilovers for the lower mount and the springs, you can go ahead and put your wheels back on. now that you got the car on the ground, you can see if you want to raise or lower it at all. It's currently sitting pretty low in the back compared to the front. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I think I'm going to go up and lift the rear a little bit. And whenever you mess with the height of a car, you have to do an alignment, and I'll be showing you how to do that in an upcoming video. Stay tuned for the next video. I will be putting on the red rays off the STI onto this car, and also mount some tires. For watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It will help the channel grow, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be putting a video out each Monday of this Evo stance series I'm doing, and just random videos here and there of the STI. So please subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.